Hi YouTube. I'm laughing a little bit inside right now. Behind me on my wall, I have a woodpecker outside that's one of them little red-headed woodpeckers. We got the big ones too. They're like a foot tall, but little guy out here. My pump is running because I'm doing dishes and laundry, but I don't know if you can hear them. If you hear a thumping in the back of the video, that will be that woodpecker. So, as a matter of fact, hang on, let me see. Well, no, I probably shouldn't move yet. If I do, I might mess it up. So I'll just leave it. I don't know what I'm talking about today. I always do, but no, in particular. Um, I was thinking about, they're talking about natural disasters and whatnot, like over in Hawaii. And I was saying last year, I believe the reason why they're going to try and force the native people of Hawaii off of their land like they do everywhere, our government goes to get the prime land for themselves, the beautiful shoreline. And I'm sure that has a lot to do with their scare tactics. And um, has anybody watched a movie called American Meltdown? I'm halfway through it. I started watching it last night, and it's about, of course, our nuclear reactors and how they depict like terrorists coming into a California facility, and they're in there right now, and they've got bombs hooked up to like the nuclear reactors and whatnot to release the toxins. And within a 5 mile radius, they've evacuated people, and they're thinking there won't be as many deaths because of the wind coming off of the ocean, the Pacific Ocean on the west coast there. So um, I don't know. I don't know how it's going to end up, but that's something that actually could happen around the world, just like Fukushima over in Japan. Um, that's a real situation, and it's still leaking. And you know, um, geez, there's nothing we can do about it. And back in 1976, there was 11 nuclear reactors that were leaking and had problems in the Antarctic. And a lot of people don't talk about that or realize that, but they're still leaking. They have been for a very long time. So, um, yeah, anyway. My bread did turn out really good. If I had it any more Dunletty, it would have been toast. Funny that Robin had a video or has one that says something about Kleck being toast. And it was funny because last night I was going to write toast on my post. But yeah, it's got to be golden brown, and maybe your camera doesn't show very much, but I don't know if you've ever made any homemade bread, but you don't want it real dark because then it's just going to be dry, and you want it to be tender and soft and, cooked. I worked in a bakery, so I know what perfect is, and it was perfect. Tonight I'm going to slice the loaf, and we're going to have grilled cheeses with Kobe Jack cheese on there, so, and some homemade pickles, and yeah, it'll be great. But yeah, my first job working in a bakery was cleaning it up. When I was 12, I used to ride my bike to the store. It was a super value store, supermarket, and clean the bakery. And I went back to work there again one time when I was 18, and I could work for those people anytime because I found the owner's wallet had like 500-600 bucks in it, and I took it up to the office, and they appreciated my honesty. So um, I can work there anytime I want, which is nice, but I don't live in the city, so. But if I did, but then I worked in a place called Rush City Bakery, and there I learned how to make everything, everything a bakery makes, you know, which I was a baker anyway all my life, so it wasn't a far stretch. Mostly I fried donuts, but I'd help prepare like pinwheels, Bismarcks, whatever. I fried the Bismarcks. The girls up in front would frost them and stuff them with jelly and whatnot. But I loved it. I'd play the drums. I'd be waiting for the donuts to, because you have sticks that you flip the donuts with. So I'd be waiting for the donuts to fry, and I'd be in there dancing to my own tune, you know. So, but they were, well, the guy was a male chauvinist pig. His assistant baker, not the guy that owned the place, but the guy that was there with me every day. And I just couldn't stand him anymore. And so I told him that, you know, basically to stick his donuts somewhere and, you know, fry them himself. The biggest thing that really bothered me about him was he's always talking about his son, his son, his son this, his son that. And one day I just said to him, what about your daughter? You never talk about your daughter. And that made him mad, you know. So, but then too, we had a handicapped boy guy working there, and he would wash the dishes and clean up the bakery like I used to do when I was a kid. And they treated him dirty, and I didn't like that either. So I just really got sick of working there. And it was kind of nice in one respect that I could ride to work and back with Doug because he worked in the same city, but about 20 miles from our house. And I used to work where he worked too, and there was another chauvinist, womanizing piece of crud. He'd kind of corner me alone and talk to me alone, and that got sickening too. So, anyway, that's when I started going to college for the second time and taking clerical classes and computers and software application and that type of thing so I could run my own business more successfully and be in the computer world. And that was 1995. So, yeah, it's been a long road. So, I have this James Taylor song in my head. I haven't even heard it lately, but whenever I see your smiling face, I have to smile myself because I love you. Yes, I do. Anyway, I've had that song in my head for a while. I love it. I think it's called Smiling Face. But anyway. Oh, now the woodpecker's gone. So, but yeah, if anybody wants my recipe, how I make my bread, I don't use a recipe, but I'll give you one clue. I sometimes I'll use a little milk in there, other times I use water, but I don't ever usually, and hardly ever unless it's a sweet dough, I don't put sugar in it. And you'll see these white bread recipes that call for sugar and oil, and I may put some butter in there and I'll put milk in there, but and very little salt, probably salted butter, a little bit of that, a couple tablespoons in. So if you just take flour and a pack of yeast, like just say 4 cups of flour, put 3 in your bowl and 1 to knead it with, a pack of yeast, a couple tablespoons of butter, and about a quarter cup of warm milk. And the warm milk is what I use to get my yeast to activate. And then I'll put in like about another cup of water and then add my flour and mix everything in and bake it at 350 till it's golden brown. And I don't ever use a recipe much for anything because I bake so much. Excuse me. Um, I pretty much just know how to do stuff like that. So, but if you ever want me to coach you on something, I can do that. I think I might have got. I was thinking a thumbs down on my cinnamon roll because I didn't have the recipe there. And with that, I did put a quarter cup of sugar, like 4 cups of flour. Um, I used a little bit of oil and 1 egg and some milk because it's got egg in it to make the cinnamon dough, cinnamon roll dough. So, um, yeah, they might have gave me a thumbs down thinking they were going to get a cinnamon roll recipe, and all it was a picture of some cinnamon rolls I made. So that could be it too. Might have not been like facetious, like trying to be mean or anything, but yeah, they didn't have to give me a thumbs down. In fact, if people gave me thumbs up more, um, I'd be more inspired to make more videos. In fact, there's ones that I want to make and I'm going to make, but and have actual stuff saved on my computer for it, but I haven't done it because well, number one, I wasn't feeling well, and number two, when somebody tries to pressure me, I might go the opposite direction or I might go gung ho. I don't know. That's what makes it so hard for the Satanists to get a handle on what I'm going to do because I never know. God keeps me on like a teeter totter all the time, and I never know if I'm going to go flying off or not. I just don't know. Whatever direction He tells me to go in, I'll go. And so nothing's really premeditated. I just kind of go second by second. So it's like, for instance, this is the way I am in my life right now. I did not used to be like this, but I am now. This doesn't happen. But if it would, if somebody, okay, like years ago, a friend of mine showed up with a bus and she goes, "We're going to go party. Do you want to come along?" Well, I had kids and stuff, and I'm like, no, no thanks, whatever. But if she showed up today, I'd get on that bus, I might have had like a beautiful supper planned or whatever, but I'd get up and go, you know. So, and normally I wouldn't, but I probably would. Um, I don't know. It's a second by second deal with me, you know. I could be sitting here talking to somebody and they could say something wrong, and I'd be like, "Well, I'm done now today, and you gotta go." And um, they'd be like thinking they were gonna stay for a while and visit, but or I just turn around and kind of walk out of the room. I've done that a lot. The last people I kicked out, I just flat told them, "I don't want you here. If you want to visit, go out in the shop and talk to Doug because I'm tired and I want privacy, my peace of mind, and I don't want company, so goodbye." So anyway, so like I say, second by second, I'm not sure. So, and I'm usually pretty nice about it, except there was one time when somebody was trying to tell me how to raise my child, and I took my kid out of school and homeschooled him. And since I was a student teacher and actually a professional for children, um, and working in nursery schools and whatnot, um, and high schools and special needs and Head Start, and I just told her to get the fuck out of my house, you know. So, and it took a lot for me to say that too, but I just really had no other words when somebody that I considered kind of stupid, not kind of, very stupid, um, Satanistic, into witchcraft, going to sit there and tell me what to do with my child. It's like, no. That's the thing about it when people do something and say something, and, you know, they're obvious to the people that know. You're totally obvious. What do you think, you're wearing a cloak and nobody can see you, you know? It's like these people like, "Oh, I'm one of the 144,000." Really now? Are you? What side would that be on, you know? Yeah, right. So anyway, oh, I don't know. I have to go outside and do some stuff, and I'm kind of putting it off. Doug went to get a motor for a vehicle of his and pick up some uh, feed for my horse at the feed mill. I mean, she has her bales and whatnot, but I've asked him if he gets some corn so I can put it in my bird feeder. And really, what I'm doing is feeding the squirrels, mostly my horse and the squirrels. I give it to her for a treat. So, yeah. But we got to get another big bale out in her pasture for her. It's right next door to her pasture, right over the fence. But we got to get one out there before Friday and Saturday. It's supposed to snow like 5 or 6 inches, and before the ground freezes, the mud is really slippery, and all. We've got chains on the tractor, but it still really rips up the yard and all that, and then it's hard to walk on or drive around. So we don't want that to happen. So we got to get a bale out there and excuse me, then I got to cut the strings off it and whatnot so she doesn't hurt herself and get all that done before the snow hits. So, yeah. And then I got a couple things I got to put away in the shed. And, yeah. Doug didn't get his building built that he was trying. He had it, he was doing it, but then he was out there working in the rain too. But you can only do so much of that. And we had our one car that's our wintertime driver, our Grand Marquis, that the starter went out in it. But when he put it down on the ground, he was having a friend of ours come with his tow truck to take it up to fix it in his shop. And when he put it on the ground, it kind of jiggled the wire and it would start, but it still needs a new one put in there. So we had him go ahead and take it. But we'll have our other one on the road. And then just recently, well, he's driving the Mustang today, but the brakes are going out on that. I mean, it's not a big deal. I can change brakes, but calipers, shoes, the whole thing. But so that's not a huge job. It can be. The first time I went to put brake pads on, it can be difficult, especially getting them to release. And if you change the whole caliper, that's a big job. But yeah, anyway. But disc brakes really with the pads, that's not really a big deal. You know, so pretty easy. Yeah, it reminds me of my youngest son when he was 9 wanting to change a tire. I did it when I was 12, the changing a tire and changing my own oil and whatnot. But he wanted to do it, and he started doing it without me. I had a flat tire. I'd come in the house, was going to go back out. He's getting out the jack, and I'm like, oh, no, you don't. And so I put a jack stand under there and everything, and got it up in the air, showed him how to do it, and made sure he didn't have his little arms and legs under there and stuff. I was right there in case I had to grab him. I'd rather have the car fall than have it fall on my kid. And a friend of ours literally died underneath the car. So it fell on him. So actually, and a friend of Doug's, a guy that I knew, had that happen. And he was also handicapped and worked for one evil SOB. Man, this guy was bad. Um, a mason, and used to run uh, underground poker through his auto body, or it wasn't auto body, it was repair shop. And I remember my dad even going there and having to give the dude money, so he must have lost some hands. And he was usually pretty lucky, but yeah. Anyway, way back in the day. So, but anyway, this guy probably looks the same as he did when he was 60 years old, and he's like 100. And he's a spooky little piece of work. Anyway, but he killed this guy. We know for sure, you know, but his name was Ray. And Doug worked at the place at the time, and car fell on Ray because he was complaining about the working conditions and his pay. And I wouldn't even put it past this guy having insurance on him because he had total control over this guy's life, you know. But yeah, that's weird. True story though. There's a lot of bad stuff going on in the world that you can't prove, but you just know it, you know, that type of thing. So yeah. And then there's other things that aren't true, and they're trying to make us believe it's true. Just like martial law, to me, there's no reason why we would have to have any type of martial law. I don't see it. I think if they do it, it's going to be contrived too, and there's a lot of people that feel the same way I do. So I don't know. Yeah. Well, we got a windy, sunny day out, and I'm just cherishing the sunshine because I know it's going to be cold and rainy all weekend coming up here, and snow and whatnot. So yuck. And it gets so damp and cold with the moisture. I just hate that. But oh well. I tried living in the South for 3 years when I was in Arizona, and yeah, I didn't like it. I did like Florida and Alabama though. Georgia's nice. And Arkansas is pretty nice, but if I didn't live in Minnesota, I'd live out west, like in Montana. That is a beautiful state. So I don't know. I was not surprised, but the my third oldest granddaughter, Joya, her mother got a hold of me, and she had blocked me on Facebook because of things that I had said to her about getting that kid tested, so we know for sure that she's my granddaughter, which I know she is, but and kind of pushing my son to take more responsibility, or I would. So she blocked me. She didn't like the things that I was saying, and I don't want Joya to grow up in a world thinking it's okay just to have babies all over the place, not married, and fornicating and thinking that, you know, this is the way that it's in God's world, because I don't believe that. And I want more for her, a better world for her. And in an ideal world, parents would be more responsible and not give that kind of outlook to any child. So, but yeah, she got a hold of me. The mom did, and I told her, well, you can always friend me again, and she did. She sent me a request. I got to get back on there and okay it, but because she sent me a message in Messenger that my son's okay in her eyes again. You know, well, when he's clean and sober and has a job, he's doing well. course he's okay, you know, but then when he's not, he's not even okay for himself, you know. So, anyway, I don't know if anybody's ever been around somebody that's been an addict before, or if you ever loved an addict. Um, you well would understand the pain of watching somebody literally kill themselves. So, and when they diminish their health from what they could be, it is a sad thing to watch. It isn't. There's really nothing you can do about it. You can try and help them, but if you say, "Hey, that's okay," or "I trust your judgment," or anything like that, you'd be enabling them, you know. So yeah, I'm always happy when he's doing better, and hope it stays that way. But, yeah. And if anybody met him, you'd really like him, unless he was using, because nobody's like they should be when they're using. So, not putting anybody down at all. Um, I don't really see it as a disease, although they say it is. But from my observation and my experience, it's a decision up to a point. Then, when you go beyond that point, Satan takes control. That's the addiction. That's the disease. It's really more an emotional thing, you know, and getting to the root of the problem of why would somebody want to escape this world through death when they know they're killing themselves? What's so bad in their lives that they really don't want to face it and they'd rather die or take the chance of dying? You know, those are the issues that people have to deal with when they are addicts, to ask themselves, what is so bad in my life? What can I do about it? Does anybody care? Are there any remedies besides trying to kill myself? Um, my advice would be keep busy and remember that you'd rather feel good than feel bad. And take care of yourself like that, you know. Um, Sorrows in this world won't go away. And even when we mask those sorrows with substances, they don't go away. We don't even sleep better. It just really makes us digging a hole deeper, and we feel much worse than we did to begin with. So if you have to live anyway, you might as well live as peacefully as you can within your own skin, you know. And using any substances really isn't going to help us do that, you know. And God really does help. He does help in that way. I couldn't say it enough. I would be so dead so many times without God helping me. Really. Seriously so. Really. I've been depressed before too. I lived with really bad depression in my life, which I don't even go there anymore. I'll be like borderline, have a rotten day, and tell myself, no, I'm not going any deeper into that sorrow. Satan's not getting that out of me, because I know there's an afterlife. I know I was before and I will be again, and I'm not doing this again. I'm learning my lessons, you know. So I won't give him my life, you know. Well, I'm going to let everybody go. I just want to say hi today, and that's about it, you know. Just tell you what's on my mind and whatnot. And I love you all. Thank you for joining me. Like I say, if you want any coaching on baking, um, let me know. I'll give you my email or come over to Facebook Messenger and I'll give you my phone number and I could even coach you over the phone or something. But if I write out a recipe, it isn't really going to be like I do things anyway. So, because I don't use one. So, like I was saying. So, all right, everybody. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA. Have a good night or day wherever you're at. I'm sure gonna talk to you soon.